Good afternoon, everybody. Taylor here with y'all, 106.7. Back with a dear friend of mine now. We basically like family is what I think now because I just love him so much. Mr. T. Graham Brown.
Hey,
Welcome
Taylor.
back.
Hey, darling.
Feel like I've known you my whole life.
Well, we both got Southern accents, don't we?
Something like that. But we're here today to talk about Memphis To Muscle Shoals. From Memphis To Muscle Shoals, your new album. Man, it is pretty cool. How you feeling about it?
Well, I'm stoked that it's finally coming out. We've worked on this thing for, I think it's been 3 years ago we started on this record. Wow. The longest thing was getting all the clearances from the artist managers and lawyers. That's what took the majority of the time. But
all the songs have been previously released by other artists, and they were recorded in Muscle Shoals at Fame Studios. I
grew up with a transistor radio glued to my ear in the 60s, listening to top 40, basically. Paul Revere and the Raiders, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Sam and Dave, Otis Redding, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap, and all these. People don't know what a transistor radio is, but there used to be these little radios that would fit in the palm of your hand, basically, and they ran off a little square 9-volt battery. There was no FM back then. So I would just scroll through the AM dial. Have I ever told you this?
Yeah. No, keep telling.
So when I was a little boy, I spent my boyhood years down in South Georgia in this little town that had 300 people in it. So at night I would take my transistor radio. I was supposed to be asleep, and I'd get up under the covers and I would just scroll through the dial really slowly. And I could pick up these clear channel stations, and people might not know what a clear channel station is. It used to, they don't make new ones anymore, but it used to be when the sun went down, they could jack up their wattage way high. And you could I was down in South Georgia, I could pick up Chicago, Nashville, I listened to SM and WLAC, which was a black music back then. Hoss and John R. were DJs, and I could pick up. There was a great station in Fort Wayne, WOWO, and anyway, as the atmospheric conditions would change, these stations would fade away. So I would scroll and find the next signal that I could get, and I would be thinking, man, I wonder what it's like to be in New Orleans, or I wonder what Chicago's like. It was like my ticket out of that little town, that radio was. And so anyway, here I am 50, almost 60 years later, and I felt like doing an album to a soul music tribute album of songs that were hits in the 60s that were either originally recorded in Memphis or originally recorded in Muscle Shoals, which there was Stax Records, High Records in Memphis, ton of hits cut there, and then go down to Muscle Shoals, a ton of hits there, Percy Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman, and just tons and tons of hits out of that little obscure town. And so I cut 14 soul songs, and I was talking to Dwight Yoakam, just catching up. We stay in touch with each other. Have I ever told you this about, there was a bunch of us that came out basically in the same year, within a year of each other. And it was Randy Travis and Keith Whitley and Marty Stewart and Steve Earle, and I think Patty Loveless maybe, and me. And we've all stayed in touch with each other. We all love each other very much, and we're friends and hug each other's neck and kiss each other on the cheek. We love seeing each other because it's been so long. So I was talking to Dwight, catching up with him, and he asked me what I've been doing. I said, well, I went down to Muscle Shoals and I cut these songs. And he said, did you cut a song called I'm Your Puppet? And I said, matter of fact, I did. And he said, can I sing on it? And I went, yeah, man, you can sing on it. Are you kidding me? So he went in his studio in Hollywood, and he did a great duet with me on I'm Your Puppet. And then he sent it to me, and it was awesome. And so then I thought, man, maybe I ought to call Tanya. I knew she'd do it. And then she did it, and we flew out to Texas and recorded her in her living room. And then I called Sammy Hagar. I was hoping he would do it. I didn't know for sure, but he said yes. And I called Wynonna. The rest of them I knew would do it. Nobody said, "Hey, let me think about it," nobody told me no. And so I called some of these Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, Sam Moore, Sammy Hagar's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Eddie Floyd singing "Knock on Wood" with me. And he's the original guy that had the hit on "Knock on Wood" and wrote the song with Steve Cropper. And then Betty LaVette, she's in the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. And then Country Music Hall of Famers Tanya and Wynonna are both in the Hall of Fame. So I got all these fun people on there, and it was not going to be a duet record. We didn't even have that on our radar, and then it just turned into this thing. It's 11 duets on there now.
What a lineup, too. I mean,
it's
that's just
fun
incredible.
Record,
yeah.
Hey, I'm old. I'll be 70 in a couple of months. Nobody tells me what to do anymore. I get to do what I feel like. If I want to do something, I do it. If I don't want to do it, I don't do it.
But you said you feel like you're in college. I mean,
in
you're
my head, I do.
Yeah.
In my head, I feel like I'm in my 20s or something. But
there's a good mix of collaborations on this record, though. You know, like you said, you have the Dwight Yoakams and the Wynonna, but then you also have, Randy Houser and Zach Williams, so it's coming a little bit newer. So how, did you make the decisions of who to put on there? Because
just people I like.
Yeah. People
I like their singing and that I personally like. Zach Williams, he and I were in shooting a Oak Ridge Boys video, I guess, I don't know how many months ago, and down at John Rich's Bar on Lower Broadway, and they redid Elvira. They wanted to make a 2024 version of Elvira, so they invited Trace Atkins and me and few of us, and Zach was there, and I never had met Zach, and he came up to me and he knew all about me. He knew I had a gospel album came out 10 years ago, and we got a Grammy nomination on it. It was great. It had so many people on it. It was another one of those records that had a lot of people on. But he said, "What was it like singing with Leon Russell?" And I said, "How do you even know that?" And he said, "Man, I'm a fan." And so I told him about this record. I said, "Would you sing on it?" And he went, "Yeah, I'll sing on it." So that's how the Zach Williams thing happened. And I love his singing. Mm-hmm. Plus, he's a Christian guy. He's just a nice guy. Well, he's a big old guy. He's tall.
Great matchup there vocally.
But that's how come I picked him.
Yeah.
Just people I liked.
Well, you released a few songs.
Delbert McClinton is a hero of mine. I've been wanting to sing like Delbert McClinton all my life. And to get him on the record, I got to know him over the last 30 years. And to get him in the studio and watch him sing.
I saw he also had a duet with Tanya as well.
On this record?
No, not on this record, but previously they had done a duet together.
Who, me and Tanya? Oh, Delbert and Tanya.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did one. I can't remember the name of that song, but yeah, they did one.
Yeah.
I remember that, but I can't call the title of it. But yeah.
Tell Me Something or something like that. But yeah, that was a good one too. So you said you and Tanya go way back as well. So that's just cool to have, those friendships that have lasted all this time.
Tanya and I were on Capitol Records together in the mid-'80s. That's when I first got to know her. And then we went on the road, and then we had so much fun at the Hilton in Las Vegas for 2 weeks one time. Good Lord Almighty.
And what happens in Vegas? Does it stay there?
We had a lot of late hours, I'll tell you that. And that was
You didn't get
fun.
married, did you?
No, I don't think we did.
We might have to Google it. We don't know. There might be a marriage license there somewhere.
Oh, man. That'd be something being married to Tanya, wouldn't it?
So what is your favorite song from the record? I know that's hard, but maybe what was the most fun to record?
Boy, I like that Betty LaVette cut. Betty LaVette,
She can sing.
she's an underappreciated kind of R&B blues legend. She opened up for the Stones last week in Chicago. I think it was last week. She's hip. Betty LaVette's good. And I love that Dwight duet. I like them all, man. Sam Moore, Who's Making Love. I'm thrilled. I'm glad it's done, and I'm glad it'll be around forever.
Oh, yeah, and we're hoping for many more Grammy nominations in your future.
Well, thanks. I'm getting ready to do a record for Gaither. You ever heard of Gaither?
Yeah.
And Ben Isaacs and the Isaacs, the family
Familiar.
group. He's the big guy that plays upright bass. He and I are going to make it together. So that's my next project.
Oh, so we're already looking towards the next one, huh?
Yep. And then the next one.
Yeah.
It's time to make what I call just a regular T. Graham Brown album, with all original stuff on it. I ain't made just a regular T. Graham Brown album in 20 years.
And would it be new original songs? Would it be renditions of your previous ones?
No, it'd be all new stuff, original stuff. And then there's always volume 2 of Memphis To Muscle Shoals. And then I'm going to make a record just like From Memphis To Muscle Shoals, except country. I'm going to go back and find some country songs and cut them just like they cut them back then, so it'll sound like it was cut in the 60s. So I want to do that. I got all kinds of junk I want to do.
Oh, we can't wait for that one. That's
and I'm still working that Sirius XM. They sent me another contract for another year. So
hey, well, we might have to steal you over here, so I don't know if you should.
Hey, well.
We need you over here. No.
I could do it.
Yeah, and you also told me you're kind of working on a book. I don't know if I can tell everybody that.
Yeah, it's autobiography. And what's the title going to be? I Tell It Like It Used to Be.
Hey, you told it. So who would play you in the movie?
Me? I don't know. Some young, handsome buck.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, man, I love Matthew McConaughey.
I do too.
I've never met him, but boy, he doesn't wear deodorant,
I have heard that. Yeah, I've heard.
But no, man, I like Matthew McConaughey. I really do.
Well, there's a lot to look forward to.
Who I like, and I ain't saying anything about their politics now, but I really like Quentin Tarantino movies. I love Kurt Russell, and I love Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. There's one called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I've seen that. Yeah.
I've seen that lots of times. But
well, I think Brad Pitt is watching this, so Brad Pitt, you got to play him in the movie.
Now you could play the middle-aged me. I don't know who would play the young crazy me.
I love it. Well, we are so excited about this new album. Everyone go listen to From Memphis to Muscle Shoals.
And go to tgrahambrown.com and order one.
There you go, tgrahambrown.com.
We got vinyl coming.
Oh, we got to get a copy of that. I'm very excited.
That coming, so yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we are so excited. And you tell them whatever you want to tell them.
Well, for all of our stuff is under T. Graham Brown, Facebook, Instagram, X. You can Google me and find out everything you want to know, good and bad, about me.
T. Graham Brown, y'all.